Hey everyone, Michael Simpson here, and welcome to Module 5, Finding, Approaching, and Servicing Asset Managers and Commercial Assets. And the video title of this video is Servicing and Closing Properties. Yeah, so congratulations. Now we've got a listing. Awesome job. And now the fun begins. Let's make sure this thing gets closed and you get paid. So let's go through some of the tips and strategies that you can consider to make sure this thing gets closed. So remember that it's a pre-market property. So you may need to accommodate some of the insurance adjusters, things like that. So this is why I put a combo lockbox on so that these vendors and third-party folks can get into the property during the time that it's getting ready to hit the market. Appraisers, any additional BPO, BOVs that are being done by other agents, lenders will send them out and things like that all the time. So you just want to be aware of that and cooperate with anything that the bank or lender asset manager needs you to do to get people in prior to it actually hitting the market. Now, then the listing comes over. Once the listing contract has come over, you're generally going to have everything spelled out in the listing agreement. You're always probably going to have some sort of seller addendum with these types of properties saying it's as is. They're not going to change anything. They're not going to change any language. Things like that usually is very common. The commission 5 to 6% is usually the normal thing. And then what we're going to want to do is we're going to want to communicate with this lender on a regular basis and let them know what's going on. Remember, you need to manage all of the utilities, any trash, maintenance, upkeep with this property is on you typically, and you've got to float that bill and ask for reimbursement. So that's usually how that goes. We're going to market the property just like any other property, whether if it's commercial, we're going to make sure it's in the key areas. It needs to be CoStar, LoopNet, and then Crexi and Brevitas and any of this other stuff that comes along that we use for commercial marketing, maybe even an MLS. Some states have commercial MLSs in them. So just put it out there, market it like you normally would any commercial property that you would anywhere else. Of course, we're using all our social media techniques and strategies as well to do this. Let the bank know, hey, here's how we communicate. Here's my team, here's my assistant. Whatever you do, make sure you have this conversation with them so they know. If you don't have this conversation, then they don't know what to expect. They're just going to expect it to be you. And, if you don't have, I like to say, here's how often I'm going to communicate with you. Is that okay with you? Which is for me is weekly. And I'm going to talk to them myself personally every week, but they're also going to get access to reports, text, emails, letters of marketing and things that we're doing. And that's all done through my team usually and my staff. And I'll introduce them to my assistant and things like that. I don't want them, they're going to have my cell phone, but if I can't pick up the phone one time when they call, I want them to know my assistant's going to grab it, right? And my assistant's there and that this is somebody you can go to. So I have this conversation with them and make sure it's okay with them. So mutual expectations. Here's an example of what you can expect to do every month in terms of a report. They're looking usually for some sort of updates on a regular basis, a minimum of monthly. Like I say, I call every week and have a conversation with them. And in addition to that, we're hitting them with all kinds of activity of things that we're doing, like twice, 3, 4 times a week, lots of stuff, inbound stuff, emails, letters, marketing, things that we're doing. And then a 30-day report in addition to that weekly phone call. Okay, so they're getting hit quite a bit from us in terms of communication. Communication is key, isn't it? One of the biggest complaints about brokers is we don't call back. And my agent never called me back, things like that. They didn't tell me what was going on. So over communicate, under promise, over deliver. And then those were some examples of what should be in this monthly report. Here's an example of what an actual monthly report is that we use. So you can screenshot this. And it's an actual report that's sent to them every month. And then if it's not selling, well, then we need to adjust the price. And so we want to do that at least every 30 days. 90 days is way too long. 30 should be more like 30 days to adjust a price if it's not selling. And usually the bank's going to have some requests as to what they want in order to make these kinds of reductions. They're going to say, well, I need this and this and this. So here's some things that you can look at there. Another thing that's real important that people don't think about is educating these buyer's agents. These buyer agents don't know how these REOs work, and they don't know that they're as is, and they don't understand, and remember, the last time we had a REO market was a long time ago for most of these areas out there. So a lot of the agents that are in the industry today are not familiar with REOs at all. So they have no idea how this stuff goes. So you really want to make sure you educate them, say, here's how this goes, make sure you explain it, make sure your assistant is nice and explains it. If you have an assistant that picks up the phone and things, make sure it's in the remarks. So that you're explaining how this process works, and there's good communication. Okay, so preparing these buyer's agents is extremely important. And then once the offers start coming in, we're going to make sure we document each offer, present it to the asset manager. I'm going to talk to the asset manager in advance. Do you want me to send you everything that comes in, or you want me to, if something's super low, do you want me to, cut it off at a certain price and just not mention it to you? I'm going to have this conversation with them as to what they want. Some areas, states, require that we present every offer no matter what. So just make sure you're sticking with the guidelines. Don't break any rules or laws or anything like that, and make sure you communicate with the bank and the asset manager what that might look like. Have those conversations with them. Vet the deal. We want to make sure there's a good buyer with a good deposit, and we've verified the down payment, proof of funds. Make sure this deal is going to close. Look at the due diligence and make sure everything looks reasonable. Bring it up if it doesn't look reasonable to the bank or asset manager. Remember, these deals need to be at arm's length in almost all cases. And anything that is a relationship needs to be disclosed in writing. So be careful about that. Good idea to, make sure you're just following any state laws and things like that. Qualify the buyer. The most important thing here is make sure this thing's going to close. If you got a good offer, it looks good, go through it, make sure that this thing is going to close. This lender is counting on you to make sure this deal gets closed and closed on time. Usually that month, right? They usually want to, if it's scheduled to close in the month of August, then they want to make sure it closes in the month of August, because they get bonused a lot of times based on the closings. Okay, so they're counting on you to make sure this thing goes and closes. Your goal is to release all the contingencies. This is why I keep putting in here, lock it down, lock it down. And as I'm clicking through these slides, you can just screenshot them and you can go back and watch this and read every one of these things instead of me talking about it and taking a lot of time on your video here. But your goal in real estate is to lock that transaction down, tie it down, make sure there's no way for anybody to get out of this deal because of your fault, right? Your fault, meaning I missed a timeline. Oh, I didn't get that disclosure sent to them, things like that. Lock that deal down so nobody can get out of the deal because of what you did wrong. If they get out of the deal, it's because they want to and they're finding other ways. They're not looking at you as the person that made a mistake and missed something, and now they can get out of the deal. That's a huge thing in commercial real estate, okay? Especially with these banks. So that's it for today. Congratulations. Now you can enjoy that big, fat, juicy commission check. You earned it. And hope this was valuable, informative for you, valuable and informative for you today. On the next video, we're going to start talking about how you can expand your commercial REO network. So everybody, thanks for watching today, and make it a great day.